Good morning, everybody. How are you today? How are we? Happy Saturday. My friends, today is Saturday, December 13th. It is 10 a.m. in Boston. It's cold again. This December, it's not even officially winter. It's been so cold, but we have our jackets and our scarves. We are ready to go. So, my friends, I hope you're doing well today. I wanted to ask us, where are you joining from? Where are you joining from in the world? Are you joining from the United States? Are you joining from another country? Where are you joining from today? I have the chat here so I can see where we are joining from, and I would love to hear where you are from. Good morning, good morning. Okay. So, my friends, let me know in the chat where you're joining from. I'm in Boston, in the United States. Today, I have a very special topic for us. Living abroad, living in another country. I want to talk about what is it like to live in another country, to be in a different culture, to experience culture shock. We'll talk about what that is, and how you can adapt to this. Because when you're living in another country, if you do not adapt, it can be very difficult. So you need to learn how they have their culture and be open to learning that yourself. So living abroad is a really scary decision for some people. Some people it's easy. I want to live in the United States. I want to live in Brazil. But for other people, it's a really big decision. It's scary. It's a different language completely and a different culture. And so some people are excited for new opportunities, but a little nervous about living in a different culture. Other people are completely open. It doesn't matter how you are, but it matters if you're open-minded to learning about the culture that you're living in. So, my friends, have you ever lived in another country? If yes, what was it like? Where did you live that was a different country? Where are you from that is a different country? And if no, if you never lived in another country, for example, me, I never lived in a different country. I only lived in the United States. Would you like to live in another country? Would you like to live there forever or for some time? For example, for me, I have never lived in another country, but I would love to spend some time living in Brazil. My students, my husband's family, everybody that I know around me almost is from Brazil. So I maybe wouldn't live there forever because my family is here in the United States. But I would live in Brazil for a few years if possible. So that would be awesome. So, have you ever lived in another country? And if not, where would you like to live? I'm going to take a look here at the chat here, my friends. Type in the chat. Have you ever lived in another country? If yes, what was it like? If no, would you like to? Let me know. Have you ever lived in another country? If yes, what was it like? If no, would you like to? So, my next question is, have you ever experienced culture shock? We will talk about what is culture shock, but to be shocked is to be surprised, a little scared maybe, a shocked face, the shocked emoji on your phone. Have you ever experienced culture shock? Experienced culture shock. For example, here in the United States, we shake hands when we meet somebody. We shake hands, but we do not maybe kiss on the cheek. And again, I'm around many Brazilians or even other cultures that also follow this greeting, is to kiss on the cheek. And so for some Americans, that can be very shocking because a kiss for us is meant for close friends and family. So have you ever experienced culture shock? Let me know in the chat. Let's see. Have you ever experienced culture shock? Maybe you experienced culture shock in your own country. Let's see. Let's see. There we go. I'm a good size now. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. These are all things that you can also practice after this class. I want to remind you that even though we're live now, you can always watch this class again later. We have this, and this is good to practice your speaking. This is good to practice your writing. You can write your answer first, and then you can practice reading it and speaking. Okay. So, I have some vocabulary for us. Let me make sure I have it here. So, the different words I have today are related to culture, culture shock, adapting, to living in another country. So first, culture. The pronunciation too here is important. Culture. Culture. It's the way people live in a place, in their country, in their city. Their food, their music, their beliefs, their customs. The United States has a culture, Brazil has many cultures, and Australia has a culture, and China has a culture, and Africa, all the countries in Africa, because Africa's a whole continent. Culture is everywhere. It's what makes this world special. And it makes us unique in our own countries. It gives us part of our identity from our country. Culture. I love learning about other cultures is a sentence you can use. Try using these words in a sentence. The next word, tradition. Tradition. It's something people have done for many years, and they continue to do now. For example, a tradition in the United States on the 4th of July, Independence Day, is to have fireworks. We've been doing this for many years. We have fireworks to celebrate the birth of our country, and we continue to do it. Next year, there will be fireworks. So that's a small tradition. We also have Christmas is coming, my friends. Do you have a Christmas tree? If not, that's okay. You don't need. Not everybody needs. But a tradition for Christmas is to put up a Christmas tree. A Christmas tradition. There are many traditions around holidays, and it ties into culture with the food you eat, the clothes you wear, the music you listen to. That all ties together. Then I have the word adapt. Can you adapt to a new situation? It's to change what you do so that you can live well in a new place or situation. So when you move to a new country, you learn and you grow and you adapt to their ways. Maybe not completely, but you start to learn. When you live in the United States, you start to adapt to what we do here. If I live in another country, I will need to adapt to their culture, their customs and traditions in order to survive. You don't want to feel like an outsider. It's difficult, especially for your mental health, to survive in the country. You're already in a different place. You want it to be easier. So you need to learn how to adapt. The next word that I have here is homesick. Do you know what it means to be homesick? You're feeling sad, a different kind of sadness, because you miss your home and your family. Even if you're not that far away, maybe you're still in the same country, you can be homesick. You want to be home in the place that you feel comfortable and safe. And when you miss your home, when you lived in the United States for so many years and you didn't see your family back in your home country, that can be so hard. During the pandemic, you couldn't travel. And that made people very homesick for their home country. Many of my students, they miss their home country, especially when it's a holiday or a family member's birthday, a big event, a graduation. You miss your home. You feel homesick. Lifestyle. For example, having a healthy lifestyle. It's the way someone lives, what they do, their choices, and their daily activities. For example, to live a healthy lifestyle means that you eat well, you work out, you exercise, you make choices that are healthy. You can also have a not healthy lifestyle. You can have a busy lifestyle. It's the way that you live your life. And habit. We have good habits, we have bad habits. For example, they say smoking is a bad habit, but exercising every day becomes a good habit. It's something you do almost every day, very often, and usually the same way almost every time. So, do you drink tea or coffee every morning? It can be kind of a habit. And it becomes something that you do often. Okay, so that's 3 more words. So just review: culture, tradition, adapt, homesick, lifestyle, habit. And I have 4 more words here. I do need a sip of water. This is a good time to take a water break, my friends. Language barrier. A barrier is a wall. It can be a problem in communication because people don't always speak the same language. For example, when I first started teaching English to Brazilians, I didn't speak Portuguese. And when I had a low-level student, a beginner-level student, sometimes we had a language barrier. They didn't speak English yet, and I didn't speak Portuguese, and it was difficult to meet in the middle. That can happen if you travel to another country and you don't know the language. And even if when you think you know the language, sometimes you're still surprised. If I could learn so much Portuguese and then I go to Brazil, maybe I think, oh my God, I can't speak Portuguese, because the way that native speakers talk is usually different than what we learn in a class. So sometimes you feel a strong language barrier. Culture shock. This is what I talked about before. It's feeling surprised or confused when you're in a very different culture. You are shocked, oh my goodness, because it's different from what you learned in your culture. It doesn't mean it's bad. Bad is different and bad are not the same. That's very important to distinguish. Different culture is just different. It's shocking sometimes, but it's not bad. It's different. Again, like I said, In the United States, we shake hands when we meet somebody. We say, nice to meet you, shake your hand. But maybe in Brazil, France, Saudi Arabia, a kiss on the cheek is very normal. And if I did that to my American coworker, that would be like, what? So, culture shock. Then we have two words that go together, diversity and community. Diversity is having many different kinds of people or things together. At Approach, we have a lot of diversity between our teachers and our students and our staff. We have people from many different countries and cultures together, and we've built a strong community, a group of people who live in the same place or share common interests. So you can have a community where you live. You can have a community in your interests. For example, my interest is teaching, and I've built my community around teaching English. So, diversity in community is very important. So we have a lot of words we covered here today, my friends. A lot of words. As always, I really encourage you to try to use these in a sentence. Try to use them in a sentence, in a situation. Make it real for you. Don't just practice the pronunciation and learn the definition. Use the word. That's how you learn, and that's how you speak more English, is using the words. Super important. And again, like I said, we will have these slides. We will have more material. You can always watch this on YouTube to practice again. So I have a story about living abroad. I never lived abroad myself. I have never lived abroad. Like I said, I only live in the United States. But my students here at Approach, they all live abroad. They are all from different countries, and they came to the United States, where I live, and they share their experiences with me. My husband is living abroad, so I have really understood their experiences. I didn't experience it myself, but I've experienced culture shock even here in my own country. So this is one example, but I have many that are similar to this. One student told me about her experience moving to the US. She said the culture was very different from her home country. She was from Saudi Arabia, and there's more separation between men and women. But in the United States, it's very normal to have men and women in the same place, in the same classroom, in the same partnership in a classroom. And it was very different for me to learn that I shouldn't put her with a male student. Her culture was very different from mine. She said the culture was very different here from her home country. People had different traditions and habits, and she felt a little culture shock at first when she first arrived. She also felt really homesick. She missed her family, the food, her lifestyle. The food is different. Her family was not here. And even the culture. For example, in Saudi Arabia, their weekend. Here in the United States, the weekend is Saturday and Sunday. In Saudi Arabia, Friday and Saturday is their weekend. Friday is their holy day. And so even the lifestyle of practicing religion and when changed. It was very different. The language barrier, because also she was learning English. She learned a lot of English, but they also have a different writing system, pronunciation. It was difficult, but she practiced every day. She was a very good student. That's why I still remember today. And slowly, she began to adapt to her new life in the United States. She could still keep some of her culture and her traditions from home, and she also was open to learning new lifestyles and culture here in the United States. Now she enjoys the diversity in her city. She moved from where she lived before to a bigger city, and it is so diverse. I have this picture here of people of all different places, different countries, and you start to become part of a new community. Here in the United States, especially if you're an immigrant, an international student, anybody, you create a new community. At Approach, we really try to build an amazing community for our students and our staff. When your family is not here in this country, your friends become your family. Your community becomes your family. And it's so important to have that support. The support that you have in your home country maybe is pretty strong. Here, it's difficult, or another country. So then you have to work to build it. But then it's really a special experience. She told me that living abroad is not easy, but it helps you grow and learn new things. So if you lived abroad, or even if you didn't, what is your story? Think about your story. Have you lived abroad? What was that experience like? Do you know people who live in your country and they're living abroad, like me? I didn't live abroad, but I know people, almost everybody around me, who do live abroad. So it's really important to make this personal. Practice this vocabulary. Use this vocabulary in your story. Make this real for you. So, my friends, let me see what else I have for us. I have some sentences for us to practice. I want you guys to type in the chat. A tradition in my country is, I feel homesick when. A habit in my home country is, I adapt by. And a cultural difference I noticed is, and I'm going to type in the chat some answers for us. Here, a tradition in my home country, you can say home country, is, in my country, and I will put here USA, is to have fireworks on Independence Day. I feel homesick when I travel for a long time away from home. I don't know if that makes so much sense, but for example, I went to California. California is not close to Boston. And I, after 1 week, said, oh, I miss my home. So it can be even when you travel not so far away. A habit in my home country is, maybe not a good one, eating in the car. This is something that I think I've heard other people say about Americans, is that they eat in the car a lot. Yes, we do. I do. We do. Sometimes we don't have a lot of time. Sometimes we want quiet. It depends. I adapt by learning as much as possible about the culture. I want to learn personally. I'm a teacher. And so when I am going to learn, I want to learn as much as possible. I learned so much about all my students' cultures so that I can understand how they think and what they are accustomed to. A cultural difference I noticed is, this is another one. For example, let me see. One thing for me was food was an interesting cultural difference. The way people eat, how they eat. For example, some people in other countries eat with their hands, depending on the food. in the United States, we do eat food with our hands as well, and we have a fork and knife too. In Brazil, they have a lot of foods that Americans eat with their hand, like hamburger, like pizza. They use a fork and knife. So for me, that was funny. Was a fork and a knife for hamburger? For pizza, use your hands. Is using a fork and knife for pizza burgers in Brazil. So I want you guys, type in the chat. Practice your sentences. Practice writing. Even when you don't know all the words you want to say, just try. Use the words that you know. If you don't know a word, then you can look it up and you can learn. You can search and understand. But try to write and speak with what English you already know. You know a lot. You can use it. So practice that for sure. Let me see what else I have for us here. Oops, no, I don't want that. So let's go back here. My friends, again, I encourage you to practice using the vocabulary words in the story like I did here. Again, when you are using them, you are learning them, really, the words. I see many people who they understand a lot, but they're not speaking. And you need to speak to learn, always. So my friends, we're almost out of time for today. We have just a few more classes left until the end of the year, and then 2026 will begin. Do you have any New Year's resolutions for 2026? What are your plans? Are you going to celebrate Christmas? Are you going to celebrate New Year's? Do you have a different holiday that you celebrate? Because there's many holidays happening at this time of the year. If you stayed this whole class, we just have a few more minutes, I'm going to share a link with you guys. This is a link to give an evaluation of the course. What would you like to see more? What did you enjoy? We always are reviewing. We want to bring you the best class possible. So when I send that link in the chat, not yet, almost, you gotta wait 2 more minutes, my friends. When I send that link, you can fill out the evaluation form and then you'll receive extra material based on today's classes. I have my slides for you, but this is a PDF that you can keep with material, with the vocabulary words, with extra practice. So important. I think it is something that you can't find anywhere else. Approach really wants to give you guys as much opportunities to practice English as possible. We also have our website here. You can see above me. Our website has more information if you're interested in becoming a student at Approach. Our website has more information about our university partnerships. Our information on our website is the #1 place to see. So, my friends, let me share this link with you. I really hope you enjoyed the class. Share this class with your friends, please. Share the class and tell them what you can learn from this. All right. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. I'm so sorry. Okay. There we go. I just sent the link in the chat. So my friends, thank you guys so much for joining today. We'll see you next Saturday, same place, same time. We'll have a new topic for you. Stay tuned on Instagram to see what our topic is. We have a new topic every week that I like to share. So stay tuned. Have a great weekend. Happy Saturday. And see you next week. Thank you, my friends. Bye. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you.